Welcome to the Roadmap to Secure Love. In today's episode, Kim and Kyle discuss how different attachment styles shape our dating experiences and influence how we experience new relationship energy. Let's dive in.
We get the question all the time of how do attachment styles impact dating? How do we show up in our dating relationships? And what happens when we start to experience that new relationship energy? We have all that excitement, all that momentum. And how do our attachment styles show up when that is coming and the relationship is starting to form or we're in a dating experience with someone? So today, Kim and I want to talk about those four different attachment styles: secure, anxious, avoidant, and disorganized, or also known as fearful avoidant, to really help us understand how we show up in dating experiences and build more secure relationships.
Yeah. And new relationship energy, it's fun,
Mhm.
right? You get the tingly sensation. Everything is great. Everything is wonderful. So let's start with secure. Is that okay, Kyle?
We can, yeah.
Okay. So secure, when you are in a new relationship, you're not going to lose yourself.
Mhm.
You're going to allow yourself to feel all of those tingly feelings and all the excitement and everything that's great, but you're not going to think about, where is this going to end up in 10 years?
Mhm.
Is this going to be my partner forever? Should we go get married?
Mhm.
Right? You're going to be okay with what's happening in the moment and
Mhm.
the experience that you're feeling.
Right.
So there's going to be a steadiness. You're not going to lose yourself, your identity either, right? You're able to set boundaries. You're able to talk about what you need and what you don't need. And you enjoy the sensations that come with this new passion, excitement,
Mhm.
wonder.
Yeah, it's such a powerful way because for secure attachment, since we know we are lovable, we're accepted, we are able to show up in dating experiences on par with the level of intimacy that we have, right? And so if we've only been dating someone 2 or 3 weeks, we're not going into 10 years down the road thinking about what life is going to be like with them. We're going, how's this now? How's this feel for me now? How are my boundaries now? What is this relationship like for me now? And really kind of experiencing the joy or even the disappointment that might come as we're connecting with someone to see if they are a match or a fit for us longer term. But we're not really going super far. We're staying with on pace with the intimacy and the level of trust that's built, because you don't trust someone day one, right? And this is one of the things that's powerful about secure attachment is trust gets built. We don't go into that first dating experience, go, here's all my attachment wounds, here's all my trauma. No, you gotta earn my trust, and we gotta have a level of intimacy before I'm gonna let you into the more vulnerable things that I don't let many people in to see, because I need to know that you'll actually receive it. And so that's really what's powerful about secure attachment is they're moving with the relationship on par with the level of intimacy and trust that's being built with the relationship, not jumping forward or not agreeing to things that aren't a good fit for them.
Yeah, I mean, this is so important. Like, you can be with someone who is kind and compassionate that you've just met and have all of those wonderful excitement and arousal. That doesn't mean that you get to know every aspect of my life.
Mhm.
I can just live in the moment and enjoy that and still not tell you everything about me because you haven't earned that,
Right.
right? So that's what's being secure,
Mhm.
right? Is knowing, like, I can enjoy the moment for what it is and not lose myself, not overshare, not change who I am, just enjoy the moment.
And that's what's so powerful. When we have that secure sense within ourselves, we're able to be much more clear about what is okay, what's not okay, what we share, what we don't share, and we're just able to live and go with it.
Mhm. Yeah. But what about an anxious partner or a person?
Mhm.
How does that work out in a relationship? New relationship energy.
Well, anxious is very, the attachment system, because of what we experienced earlier on, tells us that our relationships are unpredictable.
Mhm.
and that we can't really trust or rely on them, but also that we got to be the one that's really pursuing, be the one that's really showing up, pleasing, caretaking, often over functioning just to keep a relationship. So one of the ways that shows up is we fall in love pretty darn quickly.
Mhm.
When it's been 3 dates, we're like, ooh, I can't wait to have 4 kids with this person, and we're gonna move to Hawaii, and all this is gonna happen. And the fantasy of having a secure life becomes very kind of the focus of us. And we find ourselves even at work very focusing on that person. What are they doing? Who are they talking to? Are they still going to choose me? And we get very preoccupied with the relationship because deep down we're fearful that we're not enough or we're too much. And that drives all this anxiety that sometimes can feel like love because that's what we grew up with, but it's actually more anxiety than it is actual deep, secure love.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing you say is that I'm going to see jealousy really quickly,
Mhm.
right? They're talking to this person. What if they don't like me? I might even ignore red flags
Oh, yeah.
because of the thought of this story that I've kind of put in my head about who they are and what our life could be like, because the passion is so intense in a new relationship
Mhm.
that I forget the parts that are like, that's kind of a red flag. I don't know if that's good. You just ignore that
Right.
because you don't want to lose the feeling that you're having at the moment.
You'll also end up, particularly if you're anxious, and I speak from this from experience, you kind of give up what is important to you. You stop spending time with some of your friends. You adopt new hobbies and hoping that that'll make you more likable to this new partner who you've only known a few weeks. And that's different than secure of trying new hobbies and exploring it. But it's more like you kind of jump off the diving board and go, I'm going to be all about this new identity and new person just because then that'll give me a way to have some sense of love, which is different from secure, which is, yeah, I'll kind of dip my toes in the water, see if I like this, see if this is something that I could grow into, or just accept that that's different. I don't like it, but this person likes it, and that's still okay. And so that's another big difference with anxious is we're just like, yeah, you like that? Oh, well, I'm going to totally be this way too. Right. Oh, you like sports? Well, yeah, I'm going to like sports now too, even though I've never liked it my whole life. I'm going to like it now. And I'm going to go to all the baseball games, all the football games, and I'm going to get all the jerseys. And we're doing that all as a way to try to keep some sense of connection to show that we are good enough,
Yeah.
attempt to keep the relationship.
Yeah. So we lose ourselves
Mhm.
because we don't want to lose this new feeling that we're having.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think
What?
I think another thing that shows up with vulnerability, anxious attachment will go sometimes vulnerable into like, I love you, you're the most important person in my life very quickly, versus where secure is, it's much more kind of on pace with that trust and intimacy. Right. And so that's another thing is the vulnerability. Yes, you might feel some anxiety or some sense of closeness that might make you feel like, oh, this person's the one, I love them, and I need to tell them. But if that is not, we haven't been together for 3 months, we haven't been together for 2 months before that stuff feels like it, yeah, that is solid. We're kind of jumping the gun to try to keep the relationship, and we're jumping off the diving board emotionally, taking more vulnerable risk that is not at the depth of the intimacy and trust that is there, which then we find that person might distance themselves from us. They might pull away. They might find that vulnerability icky, right? Which then reinforces the hurt, reinforces I'm not enough, reinforces that whole anxious attachment pattern that we show up with.
Mhm. Yeah, someone who is anxiously attached in a new relationship and is experiencing that new relationship energy is going to overshare,
Mhm.
right? They're going to overshare because they just like anything to keep this, anything. Yeah. What about the avoidant?
Avoidant will kind of show up interested in the relationship, interested in the person, but they're not very clear on kind of what their expectations are and if there's any tension or possible conflict um in the dating phase of the relationship. They'll either do two things. They'll either wall off really quickly and be like, you got to do it my way, or they kind of go to the other part where they're like, oh yeah, I can totally do it that way. I'll just go along with what's best for you, all in a strategy to avoid the tension or the possible conflict, which then they end up agreeing to things in the relationship, even verbally or even taking actions that look like they're bought in, but it's actually a strategy to avoid the tension or discomfort they might feel rather than actually being bought into those ideas of a relationship.
Yeah, what's interesting about avoidant is that you're going to find an avoidant person in a new relationship energy not to discuss boundaries, not to discuss what they want or what they don't want. They might take you out for dinner and then ghost you.
Mhm,
They might sleep with you and then ghost you,
mhm.
right? They're not very clear about what this relationship is about,
Right.
right? They're just gonna have fun, enjoy it, and withdraw,
Mhm,
not be very clear.
mhm.
And if we talk about the cycle, if they're paired with an anxious person, then the anxious person's going to get really, really nervous and be texting and asking. And, I thought we slept together. I thought this meant something. And the other person's like, no, it didn't mean anything.
Right.
But they didn't come in saying, this is just sex or this is just a coffee. Like, I don't want to go anywhere from this.
Mhm,
I just want to enjoy this amazing feeling with you, but this is all I want.
mhm.
They just all of a sudden disappear.
Right. Why is that?
Oh, there's for an avoidant person, there could be fear of I'm not enough. There could be fear of I don't know who I am and I just want to have fun and I don't want to be swallowed by anything. It could be that they're scared of commitment. They're scared of being vulnerable and being hurt.
Mhm.
So they just experience about the emotion that's happening
Right.
and they don't want any ties.
Right. They're kind of keeping love at arm's length, right? It's like it loves hurt, closer relationships that really hurt me. It's better for me to be more independent, focus on what I need. And yeah, I can play with you. Yeah, I can interact with you. But as soon as it starts to feel unfair or it starts to feel overwhelming or something that I really don't want to do,
I'm out.
I'm out, right? And so it's again continuing a pattern that they experienced growing up with, which was your needs don't matter. Your whatever you're doing is all your stuff. You go deal with that. And that's also how they show up in the dating relationships too, which will show up as some red flags, particularly to anxious or even secure, but the anxious will continue to pursue and trying to make the relationship work, which is why we get this anxious avoidant roller coaster relationship, which there's a whole bunch of information on, whereas a secure person is going to go, well, this person isn't really showing up. I deserve better and just move on.
Mhm.
And another
And
thing,
not ghost, not
no,
ghost.
no.
They're going to say, you know what? I asked you to text me
Mhm.
and you haven't been. So I think let's just move on. I just don't think this is going to work.
Yeah, I don't see this working long term.
Yeah, it's owning the space, owning the behavior, and saying, I'm going to actually be doing this because I asked you for something and it's not showing up, and this is a deal breaker for me.
Right. And secure people are very clear about that.
Mhm. And they know that this new relationship energy can be found again.
Hmm. They have that confidence.
Yeah. Anxious people are like, I don't know if I'm ever going to feel this again.
Mhm.
And avoidant people say, I love this feeling, but it scares me.
Right. And so I'm going to lean in and enjoy it, but then I'm going to pull away as soon as it feels like there might be more of a commitment or more involvement that I'm comfortable with.
Mhm.
because the more involvement means more risk of being hurt, more risk of pain. And so I'm not going to go there. So I'm going to push you away.
Yeah.
Mm,
I'm scared of commitment, so I can just enjoy this awesome passion and eroticism and butterflies and then be okay and just leave it.
mm,
I don't have to commit.
right.
That's scary,
Terrifying.
terrifying.
Mhm.
What about our disorganized over here, Kyle?
That's where we get a mix between that anxious and avoidant, right? It's like relationships growing up have been unsafe. I both crave the connection and yet I'm fearful of it. And so I want to get close. I want to have an intense relationship, and yet I get really scared and I'm going to pull away,
Mhm.
right?
Yes. It's like, I want you and I want this new relationship energy. I don't.
Mhm.
I like you. I don't. They're often unclear about what to do in romantic relationships or in new relationships. Do I call them? Do I not call them? Do I like them? Do I not like them? It's hard for them to stay in the moment, right? So there's this feeling of uncertainty they can enjoy, but it also leaves them with feeling like, is this something I can trust? Is this something I can't trust? Did I like this? Did I not like this? Do I want more of it or do I not want more of it? And that comes out in behavior. So it's not just thoughts, right?
Right.
Which sends a very confusing message to whoever they're with.
Mhm.
I want you, I don't want you. I want you, I don't want you.
But that again is all because that attachment system is I want a close relationship, but it's not safe. So let me pull away and distance. And it's this push pull dynamic that can show up in the dating relationships, which is again just an adaptation from an environment where it wasn't safe to be close connected or have clearer boundaries or have that clarity. And
Yeah,
if we haven't experienced that growing up, of course, we're going to have the same strategies we grew up with, whether it's disorganized, avoidant, anxious, or secure. And that's what shows up in our dating relationships too.
absolutely. And what we have said over and over and over again on this podcast is that all behavior makes sense. So how we show up, it makes sense because of what we've experienced, our own story, our old trauma. But I want you to know that this secure, anxious, avoidant, disorganized, and new relationship energy is not linear.
No.
So in one moment, I can be super, super, super secure, and then all of a sudden I'm anxious, or I ghost somebody, or I'm really confused and disorganized in it. What that tells me is that it gives me more information about myself. That I'm super secure with this person in this new relationship energy, and I can just be present.
Mhm.
Gives me information.
Yeah.
If I'm anxious, what is that telling me?
Right.
Like, slow down, think, introspect. Why here?
Mhm.
If I'm avoiding and saying, I'm out, like, I don't know, I'm going to ghost them, that's giving me information that I need to be listening to.
Right.
And if I'm super confused, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Again, what is about this situation I'm in that's telling me something?
Mhm.
And how can I listen to it? And how can I honor myself and not betray my truth?
Mhm.
Right? So you might feel super secure, and other times you don't. And when you don't, and even when you do, if we could slow down and think about what about this is having me show up in a certain way. What about this I enjoy and I like, and what parts are red flags and I don't?
Right. And I think this is so important, especially if you have an insecure attachment style that shows up more often in some of the dating relationships, anxious, avoidant, disorganized, or even secure. What Kim is asking you to do is listen to what's going on in your body and notice what's happening not only with the person you're with, but what's going on for you, right? Because our attachment styles give us a lot of information And when we're not listening to them, when we're moving forward, we're reacting, that's where we can get into trouble a lot quicker. Right. And in more secure relationships, it's going to feel a little bit calm, particularly for anxious people or avoidant people. It might feel a little boring because it doesn't have that unpredictability or attachment threat that's embedded in that insecurity. And so that's an important thing to listen to. If all of a sudden we find ourselves very anxious and preoccupied with the person, what is going on in that relationship dynamic? What is going on within us that we're finding ourselves wanting to text multiple times or look at our phone 7 times in 7 minutes to see if the person texted back? What is going on within ourselves, and how can we look at that behavior to start to connect with what is going on for us and why we are doing that behavior? And that's where that builds us a path or a roadmap to start to do our own healing work within ourselves, or even within the relationships, to do things differently that allow us to cultivate more secure relationships. For example, someone with anxious, you might find yourself thinking about, oh, I can't wait 10 years down the line. Oh, I've only been on 4 dates with this person. Why am I thinking 10 years down the line? I don't really actually know this person. This is more of a fantasy of actually who this person is than who they are. It's okay that I'm fantasizing about that. What that tells me is I just want that safe relationship. How can I give myself space and time to see if this is a relationship that's good for me? Not just I am only good for this person, and letting that person choose whether the relationship works for us.
And how can I expand my circle so I can get my needs met?
Mhm.
You know, if you're kind of getting a vibe, it's okay to pause and to say, you know, this is bringing up stuff about myself. I got to figure that out, and I can do things to help me.
Mhm.
I can self-care, I can expand to other friendships, I can date more than just a few people, I can be in relationships with several different things. It's like, how can I listen to these warning signs or these messages
Mhm.
that are making me feel anxious or wanting me to run away or uncertain,
Mhm.
and then figure out a way to ground myself?
Right. What I love what you're inviting people to do is to use our emotions to understand our attachment needs, to find creative ways to have those attachment needs met so we can feel grounded, stable, and secure within ourselves and bring that to our dating relationships.
Yes.
Today's key takeaways: 1. Stay present. 2. Listen to your emotional signals. 3. Set healthy boundaries. And 4. Build trust at a natural pace. These tools can help foster more secure and fulfilling relationships. Follow the roadmap to secure love on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Sign up for the Secure Attachment Path course to learn practical tools for building secure connections. Link in the show notes. Until next time, stay connected and keep listening with love.